Today I have a 2002 Ford Expedition with a 7.3 liter Powerstroke. I'm filming this because it actually taught me a lesson, and I figure I can share that with you and maybe save you a little bit of a headache or what to look for. It's a no start when hot. So the first thing I did with it was check and my ICP pressure would not build up. My IPR was reaching 65%. So I suspected either a leak or a weak pump causing it. I had good base oil pressure. So I did the dual ICP test. For those of you that's not familiar with it, that's when you take the exhaust back pressure sensor and disconnect it, and you put another ICP sensor. So over here, as you can see in the passenger head, which normally does not have an ICP sensor, I installed one that's just like the one in the driver's side. So I have the one in the driver's side, the passenger side. I use this jumper. There's a jumper right here. It's pretty good for this. I took it, disconnected the EBP sensor, and connected them in line here. So now I can monitor my EBP, exhaust back pressure volt, and my ICP voltage that's in the standard driver's side head, and look at them. And that should tell you if you have a leak in the cylinder head, because your voltage will vary if one side the pressure was different, because the pressure causes voltage to be different. At least so I thought. So the first thing I did was warrantied out the high pressure pump. Put on a new high pressure pump, drove it, and had the exact same results. So now it's time to actually look into this deeper and try to figure out what's going on. The truck does not miss a beat, runs great, except for the IPR would hit 65%, set the P01211 code, and give me issues. So I pulled off both valve covers. Here I pulled off the driver's side and the passenger side, and I'm starting to look at the base of the injectors. And here I can show you where I found the problem with it. Again, because it's a very, very long crank hot, or actually becoming a no start hot now. Has to cool down. So here I'll go ahead and start it up, let you look at the base of the injectors and find the problem. Okay, as you can see there with this one pumping all the oil out, that's going to be my problem. And believe it or not, that did not show up on a dual ICP test. Both of the voltages high. So now I'll go ahead and pull this injector out and get show you what I find here with the injector. Okay, now before you remove these injectors, I showed this in another video on doing the injectors, but it's just a recap here. I take an 1/8 inch Allen wrench, and we have to remove both of these, the screws here that's in the head. We have to remove these on both the front and the back. There's one here and the same back here. Remove those and let it drain. Now also, it's very common that one of those will strip out, so make sure that you get your Allen all the way inside to help prevent it. And if it does strip out, as long as you get one out, then just remove, whether it be the plug that's here where I have the ICP, or one of the plugs, the oil line. Just do something to let the air in so they can drain. Because this whole round cylinder part here, this is actually, it's about like say an inch and a quarter pipe that's inside there. Not pipe, it's cylinder shaped oil tube, and that's how the injectors get the high pressure oil fed through this part that's cast into the head. So we have to drain this whole here, and again, it's easiest if we just take the 1/8 inch plugs out, but it takes an 1/8 inch Allen to get the plugs out. But if we can't, at least get one out, and then somehow we have to let air into the system so it can drain. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those plugs out and remove this injector. Okay, I removed the wire loom just so I don't break it when we pull the injector out, because I pry against it when I remove it, which I'll show in a second. But you want to remove the spill spouts here on the injector so you don't crack these. What I've used, it's a 5mm fits tight in the Allen. A 3/16 fits a little bit loose. It's actually an Allen bolt. But what I found from working on all these 6.0s, I have the Torx 30 all the time around. So I just use my Torx 30 on here, and I'll loosen it up. So remove your spill spout here. Okay, I just use a standard 5/16 or 8mm deep. All you have to do is pull out the bottom bolt down here. No need to touch the top one or mess with it. Also, if you notice, I have my oil plugs out of the cylinder head here. They're all drained. So I'll go ahead and just remove this one bottom bolt. Okay, now once you have it out, I just use this 24-inch pry bar from Snap-on with a hook on it. I take this, push it up. So I push it up off the top because there's a lock ring on there. And once it's up, I'll just take my pry bar. That's why I remove the wire loom. And pull and pry up here. So just take it and pry up. There we go, we have it out. And here you can see where the O-rings failed. So that's our gap right there. It's actually completely wore through. Because what we have, this area right here, this is our fuel. The fuel's inside there, the oil's inside this cavity, and the oil that's inside the fuel rail, the oil rail inside the head is always keeping this supplied with 5,000 to 3,000 pounds of oil pressure. So this is all pressurized oil in here, the fuel's in here. It's separated internally through the injector here. In the solenoid, once it allows it to, it allows some of this oil to bypass inside here, push on top of what they call an intensifier piston. Kind of just looks like a nail. So to push against the nail head and push the fuel down. Again, the fuel's waiting in here to be pushed. Oil pressure's here, waiting to be commanded by the solenoid here. But as we can see the spring, I was losing pressure right here. So I'll go ahead and replace these seals, put it back together, and road test this one. So let's go ahead and do these seals. Okay, the injector seals, I kind of like to use genuine stuff, or at least stuff that's proven. I mean, there's a lot of aftermarket stuff out there that's obviously better than genuine, so I'm not going to say that it's not. Just for me, I like to know with what goes with what's proven. So I'm using the, I buy these in bulk from Angelo Fishes on eBay. Angelo Fishes, he has good prices and stuff like that. I get a bulk setup, get a whole lot cheaper than trying to buy them individual from the dealer. I'll use that, and then I'll show you the way I pull these injector seals off. And so I just take my my hook here and grab them. I usually, it doesn't matter what order, just take them and walk them off. Pull them off here. Same way with this. Just get underneath them, work them off, work them around, just like you would a piston ring. And the same way up here. Now these, of course, are obviously going to be really easy because they're torn, or failed ones. And the same way here with the same way you do a piston ring. Just get underneath it, walk an edge off, and do that around each increment that we have to go down the injector. Just take it, and work it around until you have that off. Make sure it's clean, no debris or contaminants inside there. And we just install them in the reverse order. You go with the steel first. Same thing, just walk it on. An edge here. Just put it on. Walk it around. Same thing again there. And up here. Just take the opening. Put it on. Walk it around. So we have our steel on. We'll put our flat on. Don't be brutal with these. If you do, they're going to fail. What I usually like to do is once I get it started, I'll push that up. I'll get underneath here, make sure I don't pierce it, and just slowly bring it around. And then inspect it. Make sure that nowhere did it roll. It's also why they put these lines on there to help us out. Make sure it's all good. So we do that. And put on my last one here. Same thing. Be careful not to pierce it. Bring it. Walk it on. Put it in place. Bring it around. So I have these three all on. Do the pink one. Same thing. We're going to walk it on. I usually go around it an extra time too to make sure it didn't roll. And here with the orange one. Put it on. check it, make sure there's none of them's rolled. All looks good. Now on the bottom one here, I'll just take a razor blade, work underneath it, and I'll say be careful. Obviously don't touch yourself with a razor blade. Don't pull towards you. Don't do anything to harm yourself. So I have that off. Now the new one, I'll put it on. The book would tell you it does not matter, either way, works the same. I usually put it with the larger flat end down. At least in my head, it gives me more sealing surface. Then I take an 8mm or a 5/16 socket, because that fits pretty good like over here, like this. So I'm going to take it and just push the seal on. Make sure it doesn't want to fall off. If it's sometimes you do that and it'll still want to fall off. If you think it's going to fall off, put a little assembly lube on there to hold it, because you do not want it to drop while you're installing it. So I'm going to go ahead and lubricate this up and show you the little tricks for installing them. Okay, I'm ready to install the injector back in. I've got oil around the seals. I got everything going. A couple things I want to show you. Again, one, we did not remove the top bolt that holds it down. It's actually just a pivot that slides underneath here and locks in there. So this just slides on it. This thing has a shoulder built onto it, and it's just like an anchor bolt, or what the hold down pivots on. So we do not need to remove it. Also, this right here, the thickness of this is the same as a 5/8 wrench. So to help pull this down, I'm going to use a 5/8 wrench. You can see here how it grabs it and pulls it down. Now this truck, it's an excursion with rear air, so it has these hoses right here. So it's about the worst one in this position to do the injector, even more than the other ones, because at least then I can reach underneath the heater box. This one's right in line with here, so we're going to go ahead and do this one and see. So I'm going to install it. Again, make sure that your sealing washer down here is on and in position. It's not going to fall off. I keep saying that because I've done that once, and once you pay for a tow, you kind of learn things about these things failing. So again, make sure your sealing washer's on down there. We're going to go ahead and install this. We set it down, start to work it in. Now we want to make sure that this is up so we can go down to the bolt. I used to just use the palm of my hand and hit it. Get it to where now you can see I'm able to slide it down. So I'll take my 5/8 wrench, put it on down here, then I'll push down on it. And there, you see how I was able to use the wrench as leverage and put it down. So now this injector's in. I just need to tighten it down, snug it up, and put it back together. Just install the bolt. So you can see how this 5/8 wrench comes in handy, and a few little tips there, how I diagnosed it and what to do. Thank you.